Have you ever stood in the dollar store, picked up something plastic, and thought to yourself, I wonder if this could actually work in my garden? Friends, I have been right there with you, more times than I can count. Over the past few months, I kept seeing these viral dollar store garden hacks popping up everywhere. Hanging planters made from kitchen strainers. Mini greenhouses built from storage drawers. Raised beds from laundry baskets. Every single one promising the same beautiful thing. More food, more growing space, more garden beauty for almost nothing. And honestly, some of them looked absolutely brilliant. Some looked a little questionable. And one of them surprised me more than I ever expected. So instead of just watching and wondering, I went out and bought 10 of the most popular dollar store garden hacks I could find. Then I tested every single one of them in real outdoor conditions. Wind, sun, rain, changing temperatures, right here in a small patio garden setting. Because here at Daily Garden Guide, we don't just chase trends. We test them so you don't have to. If you garden in a small space, whether it's a balcony, a patio, a townhouse yard, or even a rental where you can't make permanent changes, today's video was made specifically for you. So settle in, because some of what I found is going to genuinely surprise you. Welcome back to Daily Garden Guide, your home for practical, honest gardening wisdom designed especially for us seniors who want beautiful, productive gardens without the stress and the guesswork. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss a video. And if you've been with us for a while, go ahead and tap that like button. It helps so many more gardeners just like you find our little community here. Now, before we dive into the testing results, let me quickly explain why I evaluated each hack the way I did. I used 5 simple questions. How well does it hold up outdoors over time? Does it actually look good in a real garden? Does it keep plants healthy? Is it truly worth the money when you think long term? And finally, how practical is it for a small garden space? With those 5 questions in mind, I rated everything as either worth it, situational, needs an upgrade, or simply skip it. Fair enough? Let's begin. Hack number 1. The plastic colander hanging planter. You've probably seen this one everywhere. The idea is wonderfully simple. Buy a plastic colander from the dollar store, thread some rope through the handles, add potting soil, plant some herbs or trailing flowers, and hang it from a shepherd's hook or balcony railing. The holes in the colander are supposed to provide perfect drainage. It looks charming on camera. It really does. So I tested it with trailing thyme and some compact basil. I lined the bottom lightly with coconut fiber to prevent soil loss, filled it with good quality potting mix, and hung it in partial sun on my patio. Here is what I discovered. Drainage was excellent, almost too excellent. Because those holes are large and there are so many of them, the soil dried out incredibly fast. Much faster than a regular hanging basket. That means you'd be watering constantly, and in the summer heat, your plants would be under serious stress. Structurally it held up just fine, but I wouldn't trust it with heavier soil or larger root systems. Verdict? Situational. For lightweight, drought-tolerant herbs like thyme or oregano, it actually works nicely. For anything that loves moisture, like basil, it's not the right fit. A simple liner makes a real difference if you decide to try this one. Now let's move to something that went absolutely viral. Hack number 2. The laundry basket raised bed. The promise here is exciting. Line a laundry basket with landscape fabric, fill it with soil, and grow vegetables in it. Affordable, instant drainage, easy to move around. I tested this with lettuce and dwarf kale, and I have to tell you, the results surprised me. Plant growth was actually strong. The depth allowed the roots to spread properly. Drainage was excellent with no pooling at all. But 2 problems appeared fairly quickly. First, heat stress. The thin plastic walls heat up very fast in afternoon sun, and that raised soil temperatures significantly. Second, once the basket was full of wet soil, the sides started bowing outward. In early spring it was acceptable. In midsummer heat, it could cause real root stress for your plants. Verdict? Needs an upgrade. If you paint it with UV-resistant spray, double-line the inside, and keep it in partial shade, it can absolutely function well. But straight out of the bag and unmodified, it's more of a temporary solution. Still, I was genuinely impressed by how well the plants grew. That part caught me off guard. Stay with me, friends, because we're just getting started, and hack number 5 completely changed how I looked at this whole experiment. Hack number 3. The plastic drawer mini greenhouse. This one caught my attention immediately. The idea is to stack clear plastic storage drawers, flip them horizontally, and use them as small greenhouses for starting seedlings. It promises frost protection, wind protection, faster germination, and humidity control. I tested this in early spring during some unpredictable nights where temperatures were dropping. I placed seed trays inside, kept the lid slightly open for airflow, and monitored everything daily. And friends, this one genuinely impressed me. The temperature inside averaged 8 to 12 degrees warmer than the outside air during early mornings. My seedlings germinated faster than they ever have. The only real challenge was condensation. Without daily venting, moisture buildup would create a serious mold risk. So you do have to stay on top of that. Verdict? Worth it with careful management. If you are disciplined about opening it up each morning and you're using it for early season seed starting, this is a genuinely strong budget solution. This was the first hack that really made me smile. If you're learning something useful today, go ahead and drop a comment below telling me which hack surprised you the most. I truly love hearing from you, and I read every single comment. Hack number 4. The wire cooling rack trellis. Yes, an actual baking rack from the kitchen section. The idea is to zip tie it to a stake or container and use it as a small trellis for peas, beans, cucumbers, or decorative vines. It looked minimal and modern when I first set it up, and I planted sugar snap peas to climb it. But here is the reality. The metal on dollar store cooling racks is very thin. As the vines grew and added weight, the rack started bending backward. Then after several waterings, light rust spots appeared on the surface. Verdict? Situational. For lightweight decorative vines or plants in a covered patio, it can work. For food crops with real weight and outdoor rain exposure, it simply isn't built to last long term. A charming idea, just not a durable one for serious growing. Now, hack number 5. This is where things got really interesting. The pool noodle drip irrigation system. This hack suggested taking a hollow foam pool noodle, poking small holes along the length, connecting it to a hose, and letting water slowly seep through those holes like a soaker hose. If it worked, this would be amazing for patio beds and balcony planters. So I tested it very carefully under controlled conditions. I placed the modified noodle across a raised bed with leafy greens, set the water pressure to low, and monitored everything closely. Here is what actually happened. Water did come out of the holes, but not evenly at all. The holes closest to the hose connection flooded while the far end of the noodle barely produced a trickle. After 20 minutes, the first third of the bed was completely saturated and the last third was barely damp. Then there was another problem. Foam pool noodles are not made to handle UV sun exposure. After just 1 week outdoors, I could already see the surface beginning to break down. Verdict? Skip it. It is a genuinely creative idea, and I love the thinking behind it. But if you care about your plants getting consistent water and you want something that lasts, please invest in a proper soaker hose. This is where the line between clever and truly effective becomes very clear. Don't go anywhere, because hack number 7 is one you will not want to miss, especially if you live somewhere with unpredictable spring weather. Hack number 6. The shoe organizer vertical garden. You have almost certainly seen this one. Hang a fabric shoe organizer on a fence or railing, fill each pocket with soil, and plant herbs or flowers for an instant vertical garden. I tested it on a sunny patio fence with thyme, chives, and parsley. From a distance, it looked absolutely beautiful. Full, lush, and abundant. But water distribution was a serious problem. The top pockets drained directly into the pockets below, meaning the top row dried out quickly, the middle row stayed moist, and the bottom row became oversaturated. Over time the bottom herbs started showing signs of stress. Then came structural sagging as the wet soil grew heavier. Verdict? Situational. With lightweight soil mix, careful watering, and shallow-rooted herbs only, it can work. But it requires far more management than those beautiful social media photos suggest. It worked better than I assumed, but it is not the set-it-and-forget-it solution it appears to be online. Hack number 7. The plastic tablecloth frost cover. Now this one is beautifully straightforward. Use an inexpensive plastic tablecloth as frost protection for your containers and early transplants during those surprise cold nights. I tested this during a late spring cold snap by draping it loosely over my container-grown pepper plants. The temperature inside averaged 3 to 5 degrees warmer than the outside air overnight. And friends, in frost situations, 3 to 5 degrees can absolutely mean the difference between your plants surviving or being lost overnight. However, plastic traps moisture. If you leave it on during daylight hours, condensation builds rapidly and creates fungal risk. The plastic also rests directly against leaves unless you prop it up somehow, and that direct contact can actually cause cold damage. Verdict? Needs an upgrade. As an emergency frost solution, yes, absolutely use it. But use it with some simple hoops or stakes underneath to create airflow space between the plastic and your plants. This hack is not bad at all. It just needs a small modification to truly protect your garden. Make sure you are subscribed to Daily Garden Guide so you never miss a practical tip like this one. Tap that bell icon so you are notified every time we publish a new video just for you. Hack number 8. The Stackable Storage Bin Worm Compost System. This one genuinely intrigued me because composting in a small space is one of the biggest challenges senior gardeners tell me they face. The idea is to use stackable plastic bins with ventilation holes added to create a simple vertical worm composting system. I tested 2 stacked bins carefully. Bottom bin for collecting liquid fertilizer. Top bin for the worms and organic scraps. I kept it in a shaded patio corner and monitored everything over several weeks. And this one worked surprisingly well. Worm activity was strong. Organic material broke down efficiently. Odor was minimal when properly balanced. The only real concern is that the plastic is thin, so you need to be careful not to overfill it or lift it carelessly. Verdict? Worth it with reinforcement. Reinforce the base, keep the weight moderate, and store it in the shade. This is genuinely one of the strongest functional hacks in the entire test. Turning your kitchen scraps into rich garden compost for almost nothing? That is smart senior gardening right there. We are almost at the final 2 hacks and I promise you, the very last one is the one that surprised me most of all. Hack number 9. Solar Light Plant Markers. This hack was less about growing and more about atmosphere. The idea is to use dollar store solar path lights to softly illuminate your containers and garden beds at night, creating a layered glowing effect after sunset. I placed 3 lights between my herb containers, let them charge in full sun during the day, and watched what happened at dusk. Friends, I was not expecting this. The light output was soft and warm, not harsh or artificial looking at all. They lasted approximately 5 to 6 hours after sunset. And in the evening, my little patio garden felt layered, intentional, and genuinely beautiful. Not dollar store at all. Just softly and peacefully illuminated. The plastic housing is thin and may not survive years of heavy rain exposure. But for seasonal atmosphere enhancement, this is wonderful. Verdict? Worth it. For small patios and rental-friendly gardens, this is one of the most accessible and emotionally rewarding hacks in the whole list. Sometimes beauty matters just as much as productivity, and this one delivered real beauty. And finally, hack number 10. The metal dish drying rack as a garden organization station. This one was not heavily viral, but I kept seeing it quietly shared in small gardening communities. The idea is to use a small metal dish drying rack as a vertical holder for garden tools, spray bottles, small pots, and seed trays, creating an organized, upright system instead of everything lying flat or stacked on the ground. I placed it against a sheltered wall and used it to hold my hand trowel, pruners, spray bottle, and several small nursery pots. This worked exceptionally well. The grid spacing naturally separates tools and keeps them from tangling. Airflow helps everything dry after washing. And visually, because of its simple clean metal structure, it blended beautifully into the garden space. It did not look like a hack at all. It looked intentional and organized. Rust is a long-term factor to consider, but in a covered patio space it is very manageable. Verdict? Worth it. And honestly, this was the hack that surprised me the most. Not because it was dramatic or exciting, but because it quietly improved how I work in my garden every single day. And when gardening flows easily and everything has its place, you enjoy it so much more. So here is the honest final picture from all 10 hacks. The ones truly worth it were the plastic drawer mini greenhouse with daily venting, the stackable worm compost bin with reinforcement, the solar light accents for evening atmosphere, and the metal dish rack organization system. The situational ones that work with the right plants and careful management were the Colander hanging planter, the laundry basket raised bed with some upgrades, the shoe organizer vertical garden, and the wire cooling rack trellis for lightweight vines only. The plastic tablecloth frost cover needs a simple upgrade with hoops to be truly effective. And the pool Noodle irrigation system is one to skip entirely if you genuinely care about consistent plant health. Here is the bigger lesson I want to leave you with today, friends. Dollar store hacks are not magic solutions. They are raw materials. And raw materials need a little wisdom and discernment behind them. Some viral ideas are built for clicks, not for longevity. But several of these, when thoughtfully modified, genuinely expand what is possible in a small garden space. Budget does not mean chaotic. Affordable does not mean temporary. And a small garden space does not mean a limited one. When you choose your methods based on what truly serves your plants and your peace of mind, you build a garden that feels calm and joyful instead of cluttered and stressful. That is what Daily Garden Guide is all about. Making your garden work beautifully for you, not the other way around. If you enjoyed today's honest testing, please do me a small favor and hit that like button. It helps more senior gardeners just like you discover this channel. Subscribe if you have not already and turn on that notification bell so you never miss a new video from us. And please, drop a comment below and tell me which of these 10 hacks you have tried or which one you are most excited to experiment with. I read every single comment and your experiences genuinely help our whole community learn together. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I will see you in the next one. And until then, happy gardening, friends.